So, a lot of us have been following the ongoing situation with Technolarp, which is, for the uninitiated, a Minecraft YouTube channel that's following this recent LARPing trend, where creators roleplay as other creators, doing what is usually a silly and uncanny style comedy sketch where they imitate a creator they really like. And I don't see any problem with the concept, but then Technolarp happened, and it's really pointing to a lot of problems, not just with the situation, but also with the internet, I guess. And I really want to talk about that today because I haven't posted anything in a really long time, but I care a lot about this, and I saw Moist Critical Charlie's video about it, and I just want to say that his opinion, I do agree with it. There's something that I feel like nobody's really talking about, which is the sort of general death of empathy that we're seeing on the internet. And this situation really speaks to that issue. Charlie brings this, valuable outsider perspective as someone who didn't really know the guy. And didn't know Technoblade, of course. And then speaking to Technolarp, through his chat and whatever. And people can try to say that, Charlie painted Technolarp in a bad light, but there's nothing really to paint in a bad light because it is bad. There is no bad light to shine on this. It's just disturbing. For anyone who has dealt with grief, this is a really heavy topic, and it's something that should never be taken lightly, which is why Technolarp and the reaction of many individual fans has left me personally very disturbed. Because being a fan of Technoblade, I have also been deeply inspired by Techno. It's why I started originally posting content in the first place. I originally made Hypixel Skyplot content because I was inspired by Techno to do that. Back when I was 15. Now I'm 22. And seeing Technolarp, and the reaction from fans, just completely ignorant of the people who are actually involved with the situation, is just kind of shocking. Because ultimately, the only people who should be having a relevant opinion on the matter, and should be listened to, is the reaction from his friends and Technodad. And Technolarp has tried to skew Technodad's response to this. Technodad did in fact respond. And he seems pretty uncomfortable with it from this response, but he doesn't say to do it or to stop. And because he didn't say that, Technolarp has gone on this sort of rampage, I guess. In his Discord, he was, as of this morning, I believe, as of time I'm recording this, on the 13th, he said that he only responds to Technodad. And that's not really it's not really something you can do. You're not the judge and the executioner here. Okay, you can't just call in shots, but really the people he should be listening to are Techno's friends. Why do we not care about that? I don't understand. It's such a fascinating situation to see somebody just completely lack empathy in this way. And a lot of the fans in the server too are like, oh, I'll go to bat for you, they're really trying to defend him. I don't know if they're just young, or if TikTok has fried all our brains or done something to the larger half of society in some messed up way, but people are really lacking empathy in this situation. It's really appalling. And I'm sad. I'm disappointed, man. I'm disappointed that people don't care more about this in the direction that I do. Okay? Seeing this is genuinely just so disturbing. Simon Hypixel made a tweet, whatever post. We all hate X. I don't know why the hell anyone's still using this, but look, he made a post, and he said, this is horrific. Again, he said this twice now. This is the second time. This post was made this morning, and frankly, I agree. I agree with everything he says here. Because Technolarp cannot be the moral arbiter of what he can and cannot do, okay? Until Technodad supposedly has to respond. He can't call that shot. He is not the one who gets to decide this. It is really should just be honest friends decide, and every single one of them. Cubbo, Sneeg, I think are the main two that keep getting thrown around, but I can't imagine Tommy feels great about this either. I mean, probably the most uncanny and disturbing thing about this is literally 10 days prior, Tommy Innit posted Grey Day, a song about techno. A very, very deep song, by the way. I was unironically moved to tears. Some people were making fun of it, but to make fun of it is, once again, this classic callback to like, wow, really? You don't have any empathy for this? Like, I found it deeply moving, and then other people were like, it's funny that Tommy Innit's trying to sing. How is that your takeaway? I feel like this is once again pointing to the fact that, yeah, we are really lacking empathy that we should have, especially in this situation. I just wish people could look at it differently, and I wish Technolarp was looking at it differently, but, you know, now it's too late for him. He can't rebrand it. It's blown up too far, I guess. Might have been okay if, like, only 100 people ever saw it, you know, we were just like, that's funny. But it's now a problem because it's popular, you know? Because it blew up past this little silly trend. Because I truly don't think Technolarp had any ill intentions. This is what Charlie said, I agree. I don't think Technolarp originally thought, oh, I'm gonna try to profit off Technoblade's image. I think he probably genuinely thought that Technoblade would just find it funny, which I understand on the surface level, but when you really think more deeply about it, for more than 5 seconds, right? You know, like the surface level, the first 5 seconds, they're like, that's a funny idea, I'll do the LARP trend. And then 5 seconds later, your immediate reaction should be, oh wait, this is going to be very hurtful to people involved. And the fact that isn't the immediate reaction is just, it just perfectly demonstrates why we're experiencing this sort of shock for many of us who actually have empathy in our souls and immediately perceive this as a problem. That's why we're experiencing shock. We're shocked. I really, really, really hope that Technolarp can just delete it. Just delete the channel and move on. The problem is this is also, I can't empathize a bit for him, because this has probably ruined his life in a way he's not expecting yet, because if he does delete the channel and then tries to make content even separately on his own identity, people now know his name, like who he is. So he'll never be able to remove himself from this either, which is just tragic too. Like, it's just a bummer, because he probably could have been like a content creator, man. Like, he could have blown up in his own way, but now he's forever cursed himself in that way. So I guess we'll have to see what he does. Maybe I'll make an update video about this, but ultimately, my heart goes out to everybody involved, all of the friends of Technoblade. I looked up to the guy a lot, and seeing this, I just had to make a video. I haven't made something in a long time. I think it's fitting that making a video about techno and at least briefly sharing the fact I was so inspired by him too. I think it just kind of drives home the fact that, like, inspiration doesn't have to manifest in the way that Technolarp has. You can be inspired in so many ways. You don't have to do this. They say imitation is the greatest form of flattery or something like that, but I don't think that's really the case. At least not here, right? All in all, shout out to Technoblade, man. Thanks for listening to my ramble, if you got to the end. Feel free to subscribe. I think I'm just gonna try to upload daily, maybe? Maybe daily, maybe every other day. Just more commentary. Basically exactly like this. Maybe other things too. We'll see. Anyway, thank you.